Hello everyone. Today I'm going to talk about the cross-site scripting attack, which is a very popular attack happened on the web service. It usually happens on the web page where the attacker can inject some scripting into the field. For example, the attacker can type in some scripting in the blog field and save it to the database. And then the victim, when is reading that message that's sent by the attacker, the message is not actually going to be displayed on the victim's browser. Instead, it's going to be executed, and usually the behavior of the script will be malicious and it will substantially steal the victim's credential and so on. So that's the idea of that. Let's get into it. I'm going to talk about two types of attack. One is called the stored cross-site scripting attack. The idea is that the script is going to be stored in the database and later be read by the victim. Another type of attack is called a reflective attack. The idea is that the script is not going to be stored in the database. Instead, it will directly be reflected on the victim's browser and going to be executed. So let's get into details. I'm still using a practice cloud environment. I'm basically working on the lab called cross-site scripting attack on Mutillidae. And Mutillidae is a vulnerable server that allows you to do different kind of attacks. So I'm going to go to the client and I will turn on the full screen mode. Alright, so we have pre-installed the Mutillidae on this browser, so you can directly log into it by go to localhost, the Mutillidae /. Then you should get into this system. So this is a vulnerable server that includes different types of vulnerabilities that you can practice and learn. It has videos and it has a web page, and it basically split all the different vulnerabilities into different categories. Especially they are splitting them into 20 categories. Those are all 20 categories classified by the OWASP top 10 web vulnerability. So let's take a look at the cross-site scripting today. And in this cross-site scripting, I'm going to first show you how to perform the persistent cross-site scripting. I'm going to use this exercise called add to your blog. So here basically is to show you a simple web page that allows the users to type in any blog and save it, and other readers can read it. Usually the blog will be, user will type in blog with text, but the attacker can type in some scripting that are not going to be displayed on the victim's browser, but also it's going to be executed. That's the idea of the cross-site scripting. So in example, for example, if I'm typing the regular, text, and when I click the save the blog entry, it's going to be displayed here. Since I didn't log in, so the name is anonymous, but this is the comment that I just typed in just now. The attacker can actually take advantage of that. For example, what the attacker can do is that he can embed a script into this blog. So usually a script will be wrapped with a tag called script. And inside of that, you can call the JavaScript functions. Here I'm just to show you that it is it's a very benign attack, which just to pop up alert. But in a real case, the attacker can basically secretly steal the credential of the victim without letting the victim know that. So after I type in that, as you can see that message has been saved into the database. But as a matter of fact, that message is basically a script. As a result, that cannot be displayed. Instead, it's going to be executed. And what the behavior of that is that it pops up a message box and saying and displaying the session cookie of the victim. So if I refresh this page, I think that if I refresh this page, as you can see that the session cookie pops up again. It is because that whenever I refresh the page, the comment is going to be reloaded, and that's the previous script comment I put. But since that's a script, that's not going to display anything. Instead, it's going to execute it and pop up the session cookie. One word about session cookie is that session cookie is very important. And usually, if the attacker can get the session cookie, then he can basically send this cookie to the server. Then he can log in as a victim that have the same session cookie. Now, since I have added the comment into this database, another user, if he can view others' comments, then that JavaScript will be executed on the other user's browser. So in order to show that, I'm going to log in with a pre-registered account called Tom, which I have already pre-registered. When I log in, and as you can see now, my name is Tom, and then I'm going to I'm going to view others' blog. Here there's a function called view someone's blog. So I want to use this function to see others' blogs and including the comment that just added. So here allows you to select the authors. The previous user that is added log is anonymous. So I simply just click the show all. Hopefully I can see all the blogs that's pre-installed. And as you can see that immediately the message has been, the box has been popped up, showing the session cookie, right? So that session cookie basically is a current login user session cookie, but that JavaScript is actually displayed, is executed because the anonymous has previously added the JavaScript comment in it, right? So this is the idea of the stored cross-site scripting. Next, I'm going to show you what is a reflective cross-site scripting attack. The idea of the reflective cross-site scripting attack is that the JavaScript is not going to be stored in the database. Instead, it's going to be executed immediately, reflected from the attacker. So I'm going to show you how it looks. So I'm going to use one of the exercise function that is still in the category of cross-site scripting, and reflect it an echo message. So this page simply just echo the message immediately, no matter what I have typed in, right? So for example, when I echo the message, say hello, then when I click the button, this message will type in immediately here, right? So it's not going to be stored in the database. Instead, it will automatically reflect it. So I'm going to show you that how the attacker can leverage that to basically have some JavaScript to run. So I'm going to inject the same JavaScript here, right? So wrap it with a script. And inside of it, it's going to pop up alert. Right, so here I'm going to basically do the session cookie, maybe. Right. So when I click this button, this message, when I click the button echo message, this script is going to be loaded here, and it's not going to be displayed. Instead, it's going to be executed. So this, as a result, the session cookie of the current user will be displayed on the screen. Right? If I click the button, then as you can see, there's no results showing up, but the session cookie has been displayed. Right. So you may ask that how does the attacker can actually take advantage of this attack? The idea is that the attacker can basically send some crafted link to the victim, and the victim will click that link. Then he will basically send this request onto this to this server, and this server is simply reflect whatever that has been injected. As a result, the malicious logic is going to be executed. Right. So one of the application is that the attacker can not asking the browser to simply display the session cookie. Instead, he can ask he can use the JavaScript to have the browser to secretly sending the session cookie to the attacker's server. Then the attacker will have the session cookie of the victim. Then he can log in with the account of the victim. Right? So that's the idea of that. So there's another challenge here. If you go to the 2007 and A7 reflected set background color. So here basically is another exercise that I would like you to try it. The idea is that here is a field that you can type in values that specify the background of the current web page, right? So if you type in the FF0000, you should have changed the background into red. Click the button, you can see that the background has changed, right? So I would like you to do some exercise by typing in JavaScript, sort of to instead of changing the background, but also instead of changing the background, but to conduct some malicious behaviors. Right? So feel free to try it and let me know what you think. Thank you and take care.